What is up, guys, and welcome to the Nexus podcast. We are here today to talk about our top picks for set 5. We have 4 deck lists here for you, which we are going to go through, dissect, and talk about. But first of all, we will get to our normal greetings. Emmy, how are you doing, my friend?
I'm good. I'm just trying to not laugh at Krish's cam that just track his face. But I'm good.
It.
What have I done? I went to the Asmodee event this past Friday with Krish. We have a vlog. Go check out the vlog. Disney, FFG, and Asmodee UK invited us.
Any more
for
brands?
this pre-release event. Just those 3 brands, no more brands. Oh, just Krish Ltd was there as well. Where are your business cards? You need to show them.
I've actually got my brick of them right here.
Oh, there you go. So
I've got my.
Hey.
I got one of them off him over the weekend, and it's in my wallet, like couples do with like their pictures.
Who's the picture of that random? Who's the picture of that random guy on the card, though, Chris? It looks nothing like you.
It's so funny. This is the only picture I have of me like actually playing in a TCG tournament. It's from Worlds 2020, so it's like this is pre the dark times. This is old.
It's a good thing that you have to hand out the cards. Otherwise, if
I recommend it,
people just
yeah.
Sorry,
very briefly while I talk about that. Shout out to Gwen. She is cracked. Okay, thanks, camera.
She packed an Anakin showcase.
Very nice.
Yeah. Pre-release weekend. How many did you guys go to? 0. Okay, I did 1 for each one of us. I did 4. So
4. My goodness. No, I mean I was unfortunately working, so I couldn't make one. I wanted to, but
if it wasn't
alas.
Galactics, I think I would have like actually gone. But I just wanted to like actually test the set, and we've had it for quite a while now, like the full set. So I think like not to get ahead of us at all, but like deck list is starting to get quite refined, and I just wanted to spend some time like grinding out some testing.
For sure.
How are you doing, Ollie? Anyway,
I'm doing good. Like Chris said, he wanted to grind out some testing, and so I sacked off my 2 pre-releases in Bristol over the weekend to go see him. The 4th of July party was very fun. And then a weekend of testing, which was great.
And shockingly, no complaints from the neighbors.
Nice. That's good.
I bet you boys were loud.
It went
testing
until,
TCGs.
It went until like 6 a.m. as well.
It went until 6 a.m. Yeah.
Damn.
I was asleep, but the rest of them were going till 6 a.m.
We are talking about card games, right?
Sure.
All right. Well, anyway, enough of that. We are going to talk about a bunch of deck lists that we have. Not necessarily the hyper competitive, but new leaders that we think that are going to be, well, not necessarily new leaders either, but new decks with the new set that we believe are going to be very fun to play. We are going to start off.
Oh yeah.
Let's do the magical cut thing. We are now here with our man Krish's deck. So do you want to take us through the magic? And if there's any card you want me to highlight, let me know, and I will jump on it.
Sounds good. Just before anyone calls me out, this is not a Kylo deck list because, unironically, the Kylo deck list I've got is like kind of insane, and after Worlds I'll talk about it. But I actually think it's really good, so I didn't want to put it up. I had a couple of also like I think I've. Brief aside, I've spent over 100 hours testing Kylo at this point of every single color, like every base possible, like you name it, I've given it a go. So I'll just tell you that deck is good, that leader is good. But today I want to talk about my GOAT, Obi-Wan Kenobi. So most of the deck lists I've seen out there have been doing this Obi Blue, and in some ways I think like this is kind of a worse version of Han Green. like Han2. So Han2 is obviously like quite dominant, but the game plan's kind of like it's a bit boring. It's like, okay, yeah, I cheat out my cost and then I like do my fun things and blah 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 blah. And I play Kelleran on 6 and cool. Kelleran on 6 is for losers. You know what cool people do? Cool people do Kelleran on 5 or even potentially 4. How do we do this? I'll explain. So this deck is full of Force units. It's full of Jedi units. We get to play the best like upgrade in the game, General's Blade. We slap this onto any of our turn 1 plays. We then cheat out a Jedi Consular. So our ideal curve is going to be Gungi, 2/5. He can't be removed by pretty much anything besides like a Force choke. We General's Blade him up, and he is now a 5/8. He's big. He's not going anywhere. Assuming we are not griefing and they don't
Power
have dark side.
of the dark side.
Just don't do it against villain. Just don't do it against villain. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
Don't play against blue. It'll be fine.
Don't play against villain decks. It's fine. But actually, hilariously, against like the Han 2 decks that are everywhere, this ends up being really scary. Because you General's Blade, slap it on, punch face for 5, or clear whatever their first turn play is, get your Force token, slam down Jedi Consular. Next turn, pray they don't interact with your Jedi Consular, swing with Gungi, and then you can play Yoda.
Please don't attack me.
Please. So obviously that's your most like insane broken fun line, and when it happens the games are hilarious, right? Like, you know, you're slamming Yoda. Also, like, for what it's worth, yeah, you're not going to heal 5, you're not going to get Yoda's when you use the Force ability immediately, but you're going to have 3 units on the board, so it's like that's kind of, well, oh no, actually you're going to have the oh no, you won't, but next turn you'll do some cool stuff. It's not that good. Actually, there's way better things you can do. I mean, frankly, Gungi plus General's Blade is like kind of insane to begin with. The other like cool stuff you're doing with this deck is you slap General's Blade on Obi-Wan. He's suddenly a 6/9. That's pretty scary. And then going into the next turn, you swing with Obi-Wan. You have your Force token, and then you can play Yoda immediately. So you have like lots of ways to really like crack open General's Blade. So on top of that, we're also playing like the other really broken package of cards, which is Ki-Adi-Mundi and Force Throw. We all know this is a problem combination. We don't need to sort of go super in depth on it, but yeah, Force Throw, and that's why I'm on the 3 Crate Dragon as well, because I want to draw Crate Dragon, and then when my opponent deploys their leader, I want to play Force Throw, target myself, discard Crate Dragon, bye-bye leader for 1. And the hand size isn't going to be an issue because for some reason I have a 4/4 for 4 that says draw 2. So that's
Krish,
sort of the
question.
what you're trying to do. Yes.
Quick question. So one of the new cards that sticks out for me is that 4-cost 5/4
Yes.
when defeated effect, which is a green Aeroism super laser attack.
Yes.
Have you tested him much? Sounds really good to me.
Yeah. Well, so weirdly, like a lot of the time I don't actually ramp with him. A lot of the time, the fact that he is capable of ramping, I have found like really dissuades my opponents from dealing with him until they absolutely have to. Because the issue is the resource comes in
bits for
right?
5 then. If they don't touch him.
Yeah, well, exactly right.
So
it's a very big unit. It's very scary. It's a big unit. With Maz, you clear any leader deploy on 5. So like you play it on 4, your opponent doesn't immediately answer it, and now they're kind of locked down because you can just flip your Obi-Wan, and then like your opponent's sort of in an awkward situation because if they like flip their leader, you can Maz them. If they don't do anything, then you might just be able to General's Blade, and then like okay, now they're in trouble because you have a General's Bladed up Obi-Wan, so that's like concerning. I found it really actually better as sort of a pressure tool. Sometimes it comes up that like actually it's a good time to ramp. You're okay using the Force token for it. And obviously like your top end in this deck is crazy, right? Like Kelleran Beck is a ridiculous card. Yoda is a ridiculous card. Mace Windu is a ridiculous card. And if you get to the point in the game where you just get to slam a Crate Dragon, that can usually lock out the game as well, especially if you've got even 1 or 2 other units to kind of insulate you from some other removal. The deck's really fun. I don't know that it's like super competitive, but it's definitely not bad. Like I would happily take this to like a store showdown, and like have a good time, and maybe even a PQ. Maybe. I think you can outrace. Sorry, yeah.
Sorry, one thing about the deck that I do really like is the fact that you can double trigger Yoda as soon as it comes down to just like snipe out 2 big things.
Yes. One of the reasons, I
Wait,
really
how do you
prefer
do that?
Well, it's just because you can have the force base, so you are able to like keep on like generating the force token.
Right.
It is in. I don't think Ollie meant like you
With your
can't
leader.
like play Yoda and then double trigger. But yeah, you can like get the force and then use your leader ability to immediately trigger it again.
I see.
Yeah.
So,
Um,
how fast is the new sort of format? Is this deck like gonna survive that long on 28 life, or what we're looking at?
So weirdly, okay. I mean, Ollie and I know we did quite a lot of testing over the weekend, and we've been generally doing a lot of testing. So these force decks actually really effectively outrace space aggro, because one of the issues, like I thought we were going to have, was like, well, how are we? Those space decks, they're going so wide, they're doing so much damage, and actually, it turns out Gungi General's Blade turn card sideways, play a 2-drop into play like a 4-drop or something like out of that. Like I don't know, like just into like just going like you're hitting them so hard so fast that you're ahead in actions. So you're just killing them really really quickly. So like I have found that also because your leader's coming out on 5, and Obi-Wan is buffing your whole board. I haven't even talked about that, but like one of the issues with this deck is you tend to lose initiative into other decks. So like you kind of don't get to effectively use your Obi-Wan ability sometimes just because you need to take initiative. That's not an issue against like the aggro decks. So it's really fast against those. So I think it's like actually okay. The 28 HP has been fine, but I don't know. I don't know what Ollie thinks.
Yeah, I kind of agree. I think we're going to like a very heavy range meta, and there's going to be a bunch of like mid-range value decks fighting it out. I think a deck like this has a good edge because it can go like super aggressive early, like you mentioned with the General's Blade and the cheating out stuff. But it also just has like really insane top end for if you play against any of the slower mid-range or control decks. Like you said, Kelleran is just a crazy card. It's such a value tool, and it only gets better as the game goes on. So like,
yeah,
there's a lot of this with a lot of the force decks where they're so naturally well-rounded that they can do well into aggro and control, and I think that's what makes them quite frustrating to prepare for in this Galactics meta that's coming up.
Yes, yeah, because you would have thought like, oh, the space, like surely they just lose to space beatdown, and no, they just go really really fast. One of the other things that's cool about this particular build is you actually get out your crate dragons faster than Han2. Because you are able to, well, Han2 green can get them out faster, but Han2 blue, because you, as long as your General's bladed up leader survives till 7 resources, you're playing crate on 7. They're not playing crate on 7, they're playing Bendu on 7, which is still scary to clarify. Like that's a very scary thing for them to do, but if they don't have that exactly, and if they're not in a board state where they can do that, I mean, you play Yoda or something and nuke it down. When you get established a crate against a lot of these meta decks, it's like, shit, I lose. So yeah,
What about
just lots of really scary threats.
Do you think that Crate Dragon's going to be still one of the most impactful boss monsters going into Galactics, even with all the new set?
I think weirdly, the most impactful thing about it is the fact that it costs 9. I've just like that's the primary use I've seen for it is it's a discard target for force throw.
Yeah.
That also sometimes when you play it just says I win the game.
Wins you the game. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Makes sense. All right.
So I think it's super impactful.
So final conclusions on this deck. What would you give it out of 10 in the competitive sense and in the fun sense?
Fun sense, I'm giving this a 10. Like Obi-Wan enthusiast, suit up like a little Gungi, just start doming your opponent on the face. It's full on like turn your card sideways, be aggressive. It's very fun. Competitive, it's probably like it's got a lot of like pretty glaring weaknesses that like you're probably, if your opponent's siding, upgrade removal, or if you try and build something tall and then they have like one targeted removal. God forbid you get traitorist. Oh my god. Like that's it. Like you generals made up your Gungi and they go, cool, yeah, traitorous, I'll have that. Then you're done, right? You're absolutely done. So like these things can happen. But yeah, I would say like 6 to 7 out of 10 competitive. It's definitely on the better end for sure. Like this is definitely like a better deck. I'm maybe even an 8. Like I wouldn't put it in top tier meta, and I don't think I'd play it at Galactics. But yeah,
I think the bias
take this deck.
is getting the best of you now as you're going like 6, 7, 8.
Maybe it's a 12. Who's to say?
Even your camera's suspicious. But anyway, no, nice deck.
Yeah, I know.
Nice deck, and definitely definitely the kind of thing
trying to expose me for getting a little bit too excited about talking about Obi-Wan.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a kind of deck that I would enjoy, I think. I don't normally like to play aggression too much, but the force throw decks are always pretty funny. So but yeah, let's move.
Mage Wind is also a fun card.
Let's move on to another deck that, by the first looks of it, doesn't look very fun at all for the opponents. We have Thrawn Data Vault.
Oh.
In brackets Anakin.
Oh baby.
Uh-oh.
You'll see the in brackets Anakin through the entire Thrawn DV history, I'm gonna be honest. So this is my deck. This is yeah. This is the list that I've brought today to present. I have been working on breaking this Anakin card as hard as I can. Like I'm putting it in every single deck, in every single color combination. This card is like, in my mind, the deck that wins Galactics will have this card in at 3, and it'll be the best like way to abuse this card. Because I don't think we've even put the videos out yet, but me and Chris did a top 10 list where we both put Vader.
Those out, did we?
I don't think I've put my half out, at least.
I watched it.
I'll have to double
What's
check.
Chris's one?
Maybe it's Chris. Maybe I'm the slacking. But spoiler alert, we both put Darth Vader as the first legendary, and I think I put Anakin amongst like the 3rd or 4th sort of area, and I should have put him first because I swear this card is completely busted. Like playing with it has felt insane. Yeah, so I think he should have been. I think he's the best card in the set. Like
what makes? I mean, what makes him the best card? Obviously, his stats are amazing for the cost as well as the on plays. But what really is the reason that you're declaring it the top card?
It's really that like he just feels like a more flexible Luke that comes down earlier. The fact that he doesn't have the restore 3 doesn't really matter because like if you're getting swings through with a Luke, whether you have the restore 3 or not, you're probably winning that game anyways. And it's the same kind of logic for Anakin. Also, just in general, this game doesn't have good 6-drops. So it really feels like a gap in the curve that has been missing for so many decks, especially a lot of these like blue decks as well. A lot of the jump has been from like overwhelming barrage and villainy to Darth Vader, or from, for example, in a red-blue hero deck, you jump from Poe to Luke, and there's like nothing really in between that fills that gap. And now there is something insane.
It's been so bad that people played Vigilance for 6.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
That's not that good.
Yeah. But now, if you're able to set up this Anakin, and even there's a lot of times where you're only able to set up 1/2 of the effect, and it's still just like good enough. Because the stats are really good. It's not going to die to a Luke on play next turn or like any sort of 6 damage. It kind of demands like a maul or something to answer it. And it's able to like, against aggro, you snipe out 2 things. Against a mid-range deck, there's probably like chip damage enough that you're still able to snipe out 2 things. And then against control, you just kill 1 big thing. And it's so insanely flexible. Once you find consistent ways to set it up, it just feels so smooth. And so, yeah, every deck that I've worked on recently has been like, right, what's the way that I can fit hero cards into this deck? How can I fit villainy cards into this deck? I think it's especially good in villain decks because they don't have access to Luke and they don't have access to as many minusing effects in general. So it's able to give you something that like the color combination just doesn't have, which in card games in general, for those of you who like don't play many other card games, if you can take a color identity and splash it into another color, that generally is like game breaking. So that's really what I'm looking to do with this kind of deck, and with a lot of my decks right now as well.
Yeah.
So
Josh, can
in
we
terms of the
zoom out a little bit just to?
Yeah, I noticed you're not
Don't know
playing
what's the
Vader
format.
though. In this list, Ollie.
yes, yeah. There's Vader's in the sideboard. There's also Timely's in the sideboard. I
Fine,
wanted to
okay.
try.
You're.
I wanted to try.
Yeah, because I didn't see
without-
Timely's in the main, so I was like, oh, okay, fine. I guess that makes sense.
Yeah,
but-
yeah. I've been wanting to try the deck without that package at the moment, and I think it runs pretty smoothly. Because it's a big package to fit into these decks. But I think there's also a good world where you can run ECL with this deck and really like trim down on a lot of the ratios, and a lot of the top end especially. And you can also run that HK droid that I've got in the sideboard there, which is
what's that?
for those that don't know in the new
What's that?
set. It's like a 5-mana 4/4 that on death deals 2 damage to your opponent's board. And obviously in Thrawn, that
It's just
becomes
ground
4
units, I
damage.
think. It's just ground
I think, yeah, it might just be
it's
ground
each
units,
ground
yeah.
unit, so it's your own as well. It's not just your own opponents.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
It's not quite as good as I'm saying.
If it did it to space as well, I would be all
That would be
over this card. I'd be
busted.
so with you.
Yeah. But yeah, it does. So it does 2 damage to every ground unit. So I think in an ECL version, you can run that card just as like basically a board clear, because it's going to deal 8 damage to one thing and then 4 damage to everything else, which is pretty good. And then you also get access to Vader the next turn. But yeah, for
Did you
now, I'm
just
trying a Data Vault
invented-
version.
Did you just invented Super Laser Blast for 5?
Shout out to
Maybe.
Long Pike, by the way. You got to have a smuggle card in your deck, Ollie, at all times.
Long
Oh, yeah,
Pike is. I love
really.
that card. Got to get them in Hyperfoil one day.
What
Hit me
a-
up at Galactics if you guys got that.
What about the shuttle ST149? That a spicy card? I haven't really seen that being played too much, like blue control decks.
So that's mainly in there at the moment as like a high roll potential alongside Krennic, because you can play it on turn 2 if you have Krennic. And it can be really nice into like the Quinlans or the Cads that might play like a craft, and you can steal their shield away. I'm not sold on it because it's a 2 of in a 60 card deck as opposed to a 50 card deck, but like it's in there. It's still a pretty good card.
Is there anything else spicy in the main? I mean, a lot of it, the top end looks pretty familiar. I lie.
Got Vanth to get the wolf.
Really new
Yeah,
there.
the
And then
trash.
I wanted it to be the wolf because it has Sentinel, so you can still play it out and then force your opponent to kill it. So it'll end up in the discard anyways.
Yeah, the wolf. That wolf seems pretty good for even though it can't attack, but for control decks early game. That's very nice.
I just
Yeah, for
realized,
sure.
did villainy just got Luke out of Palpatine Return, right? Because as in, like, you can play Anakin with Palpatine Return in this
Yeah.
deck.
Yeah, can do.
Yeah, because it's
One
first.
one question
course.
I've got: how come the new Vader didn't make the cut into the main deck of 60?
Mainly just because I couldn't find space for the Vader and the Timely Intervention. But I think there is probably a world where you cut down a lot of like the top end stuff for it. And maybe the shuttle as well. Either that or you switch to ECL, and I think the ECL version is pretty interesting as well with the droid.
All right, sweet. Okay, well, any final thoughts on the deck? Like anything you would change at all?
I'm not sure, honestly. I do think the shuttle is the main thing that I might switch out. And maybe like sort some of the top end out. The Annihilator just felt a little bit too cute. But I am really interested in trying out an ECL version. I think that's the main thing that I'd change, is like just giving the ECL version a bit of more of a go so that I can figure out which one I prefer.
So Ollie,
Which I think will be the case for a lot of
for you.
green-blue villainy decks at the moment.
I've
You said
got a
what,
fact
Krish?
update for you. You put Anakin at number 6 in our top 10.
6?
And as embarrassing as that is for you, he didn't even make it onto my top 10. So
Crazy.
rough.
Okay, we take those.
My number 6.
Krish's takes stay
was
worse
Boris
than mine.
No. Relax. You had Jedi Consular at number 3, and you also had.
Okay.
You
Guys,
also had
at
Dooku
this rate, there'd be
number-
no point in them going to watch the videos if you just do the whole rundown. But anyway, go check out the videos on their channels, guys. Go check it out.
Just cut to the video right now. Play
Yeah. One. Right, that's it. That's enough. All right. So Ollie, I'm going to put you on the spot. Competitive out of 10 and fun out of 10.
Fun out of 10, I'm going to say a solid 9.5.
Is that because you're just
It's fun to double
destroying-
trigger your stuff.
Yeah, you like triggering people. That makes
Nah,
sense.
it's fun to double trigger your stuff, and you get Anakin. In terms of competitive, I'm gonna say a 7. It's probably not the best villain control deck out there.
Okay, what would you say is if you had to put your finger on one?
Probably Kira, realistically.
Yeah.
Yeah, as a poorest man, Kira.
Same old.
Ouch.
That's how like all of these like data vault like blue black data vault decks was like but I could be playing Kira. It feels so boring.
Well,
It's like I'm doing all this cool stuff. I could be playing Kira.
let's get on to a serious deck now, as Emmy's not going to Galactics. He'll actually show a deck that he would play potentially. I'm just kidding. The other decks are great. But yeah, Anakin
I would probably
with Shadowed
actually-
Undercity.
Oh yeah. I would actually consider playing this at Worlds, to be honest.
Yeah,
I
wasn't being
played-
sarcastic.
No. Yeah. I played Anakin for the rest of this past set in a very completely different composition. I was playing it with Colossus, 35 HP with the Stila and the events package, the list that Joshua kind of like invented and popularized, that haven't seen like a lot of playing since then. People, I think, generally prefer the 30 HP list with like Poe and upgrades and stuff. But I really enjoyed that list and had some pretty good results. But most and foremost, I love the leader. I love the leader effect, both on, as a action and as deployed. It's just a leader that just feels good to play with. So I wanted to keep playing red, blue, and kind of shift to the Force package, as I think this color combination has some pretty great payoff. Top of mind for me is actually the 4-cost package. I mean, playing Chirrut and Kiadi in the same deck feels amazing, to be honest. And it's, I wouldn't say a win condition, but is one of those like pivotal plays against so many decks, either being able to put a huge Sentinel down or going +1. But the deck essentially, it relies on a very, very solid fundamentals, or foundations rather, with this new wave of 2/4 statted 2 costs, which with Anakin just become huge units immediately. So like playing this leader and seeing a 2/4 is just like that's amazing for a few reasons. One of this is being able to say, okay, you play a 2/4, I play a 2/4, I trade you, right? Or you're obliged to trade me and not keep yours. So on top of that, we got blue Crafty Smuggler. So another like 2/2 shielded that swings for 4. And a Force Throw enabler, because this is a Force Throw deck, obviously.
One thing that's crazy
for
that you missed on the Sage is it's not only is it a 2/2 shielded, but it's also another Force card, which is just crazy.
It is, yes,
Yep.
yeah. It is super important. Yeah, everything on 2 costs apart from this ship, because I really like the ship, is a Force enabler. But I was mentioning Ezra as a 3-cost 3/5 Force unit as well. We essentially have the Force always on. Obviously, we need to swing to activate it. But the 2 and 3 cost package is really, really solid with Yoda as well. Yaddle and Yoda together, like it's an enormous amount of restore. And then I run a pretty solid removal package. I have 2 Fel the Dragon, 1 Rival's Fall for the leader removal, and then 3 Shatterpoint, which initially I wasn't really into it. And then I started seeing like, okay, this is almost a takedown. And then I started to see like how flexible this card really is. I don't know if you guys have played it much, but I'm really high on Shatterpoint, to be honest. It's very flexible.
It does look very cool to as one of the new cards.
It's good that it hits those small units.
Yes. Yeah. And you can you can finish off stuff. It's really good.
One question I've got
in this list?
Question I've got is the Forces with me is so impactful, strong. What's the main reason you're only running 1 of?
I usually try to start with like running 3 and then see, if I want to try a card, I put 3 copies of it in my deck and see how it performs. And just it's one of those cards that if you see it in one game, you're like, okay, that's good. But if you see it in every game, it at times is just too expensive and it doesn't do what you want to do, which is put a body on board.
I'm just imagining it.
Get ahead.
I'm just imagining it being on Yoda and Yaddle, like early game. How?
Oh no! Don't get me wrong. Like it's really good, and I'm not saying that you should play at 1. I just ended up cutting down because, when it comes to choosing a removal, for example, Fel the Dragon, Shatterpoint, or the Forces with me, I always like started resourcing the Forces with me. So I don't know. It really also depends how the meta will evolve, because I think one really cool thing I started to notice is that like this deck can actually deal with Sabine. So interestingly, I feel like a lot of people are not so high on Sabine right now because the 2 drops now are bigger. Yeah, they should be. Yeah, 100%. But I think they're essentially this new 2 cost. They're holding ground and a bunch of restore as well that essentially kind of like hinders the aggro, and then Chirrut, which it gets answered by Wrecker, and it doesn't solve all your problems, but Chirrut has been like super strong, to be honest.
One thing
I'm not sure if you specifically mentioned it as well, but one of the things I think about this like deck leader combo is that if you have initiative, I don't think you can lose to like the other Force decks in the meta, because every single one of your with the sole exception of Gungi, you one-shot every single one of their turn 1 plays, and also every single one of their turn 2 plays with just your turn 1 play, which is like completely nuts in terms of value.
Yeah, they can never get the Force online against you, which is exactly what you want to do against those kinds of decks.
Yeah, I actually, interestingly enough, I tried a different package without the 2/2 shielded and with Sabine unit and Kanan as well. For Sabine to be able to swing for 5.
Actually. Yeah.
Yeah, actually, I generally what
also,
I had.
they might be playing the Secretive Sage as well, right? So Sabine answers that.
Yeah, and also I used to run Sabine Masterpiece instead of the Concordon Interceptor. So 3 Sabine, 2 Kanan, 2 Sabine Masterpiece, and it really felt good. But not having the consistent like turn 1 force can be a bit of a problem, because then it messes you up the Chiarimundi potential like payoff. Because if you don't have a force turn 1, turn 2 you need to play a force, and then you have to swing on turn 3, and then you have to play Chiarimundi. So yeah, essentially you've won the force active every turn, but still I think we'll have to see how the meta evolves. You might be able to replace the Sage with Sabine for that trade. Those favorable
I've actually
trades.
noticed. Sorry, I've actually noticed like Han 2 players who are playing like Ogdo Bogdo turn 1, and I've been like, yeah, that's fine. You can play that. I'm going to delete every one of your force units. You can have your 5/3. I don't care. You are not doing anything scary to me with a 5/3. I'll take the 10 damage, whatever. I'm more scared of you double force throwing me than you dealing 10 damage to me. You know.
I've
So
got
I think like yeah, like
you, Emmy, on this list.
need the force.
All right.
Do
Well,
you think
go
this
on.
version? Do you think this version is going to supersede the Colossus Anakin version with like Steeler? Do you think Chiarimundi is better than the Steeler Guerrera package and the +5/+7 health now?
Yeah, so I really love the Stila deck, and I would keep playing it. And there was a split moment last week where I thought the new Ray unit that says when you draw it, do 2 damage to a base, 2 damage to a unit. I thought if I search the tactics, I'm drawing that card. And I was like, oh my god, Stila is crazy. I do 6 damage. So I was like, oh my god. But then I realized, okay, no, it doesn't work like that. If that worked like that, that's all I'm playing.
That'd be
All I'm
crazy.
playing.
Right.
But
I've got a little
yeah.
curveball question, because obviously there's a
Go on.
theme in all of these force decks, and that is the card Force Throw. Now, obviously they mentioned that they're going to be keeping an eye on this card as well as a few others. Do you think it should be on the chopping block, is my question? Do you think it's too overtuned, or do you think it's fine and has its place in the game?
I'm gonna take the initiative here.
Yeah.
God,
Oh, nice, good.
top 10 players.
Top 10, top of the
players
totem pole.
comments on
I would like to see Force Throw banned, but I actually think it solves nothing, and I think the best decks stay the best decks, unfortunately. I think you have to ban Force Throw and probably Chiadi as well to change anything. But I'd be very happy to see Force Throw go.
And when you say Chiadi, do you mean...
necessarily fully agree with that? Like, because I agree with you that Force Throw should go. I think it's a complete problem card. I think when you remove Force Throw, you like the problem with Force Throw isn't you get Force Throwed once in a game. The problem is they Force Throw you 2 times.
You get it twice.
Like back, or they have the hand size to just like dig, find crate, and like nuke your leader for 1. And I think without those decks like become so much like more fair and like fine. I still think like the decks would still be like high tier, maybe even top tier. But I think it probably would be a meaningful matchup. Like Han1 can exist again. That's a big deal, in my opinion.
I mean, that's why I'm starting that's why I'm starting my campaign right now, to get it banned. So
I wonder what Josh's deck might be about.
No, well, we're actually running out of time on the video, so I did have a bit of Ollie's homework that I was going to talk about, which was Han1, which we'll quickly look at. So yeah, that was a nice quick look. Well, it's going to be a great deck. It's going to be a great time once they ban Force Throw, really. And that's all that I want.
The name of this deck is Ban Force Throw.
Yeah.
That's what it should be.
But yeah, not really too much for me to say about it. It's Ollie's deck. It looks pretty similar to previous iterations, just with some nice new additions. But yeah, anything you would say about this deck other than it dies to Force Throw, Ollie?
I put in a package to try and stop it dying to Force Throw, which is the little Force package, the Youngling Padawan and the Chiarimundi. I think one of the deck's real strengths is the 30 health, and I think the only Force payoff you care about is Chiadi, so I thought just sticking in a small package might help insulate it a little bit. And you also want to stay on curve against control, which is where the draw power comes in anyways. So it really fits together well. But yeah, just like I think Force Throw still kills this deck, unfortunately. So
how many decks in the meta do just sit under that category of death by Force Throw? Is it like a
Everything.
chunk? Yeah.
Probably four
Everything
different
dies
Han1
to-
decks.
Four Han1 decks.
But on a serious note, like literally everything in the meta completely capitulates to like turn to like force throw. Like literally, what are you supposed to do against that?
Yeah.
Like your board is gone,
and they always have it.
Especially if
they always have it.
The unit.
They always have it.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
But yeah, so that's about it for this week. Thank you guys for bringing your decks to the table. We have Worlds coming up soon, as well as me and Emmy are going to be doing some events. Do you want to talk about those events, Emmy?
Yeah, briefly. So here in the UK, I don't know if anywhere else they're doing it, but we have these kind of FFG Asmodee organized event called Outer Rim Trials. They're a celebration of Galactics, as far as I understand, and they're running from Friday 25th to Sunday 27th. So throughout the duration of the World Championship, Galactic Championship. And it's just a celebration. Stores will kind of have a lot of pricing. Some stores will run trilogy events. There will be pub quiz, cosplayer kind of competition. So we're just gonna be cheering for Krish and Ollie.
Yeah,
from
hopefully
London,
you guys will be on the stream.
Josh and I.
Yeah, because they're gonna put it on a projector, right? That we're gonna be watching Worlds at their thing as well
on the Sunday at Spellbound. So
it's a copium club basically. But what about you guys?
Exactly.
Are you guys excited for your trip? It's coming up very quickly.
We went through
it's going to be so much fun.
Yeah. No, but we actually went through it because like Ollie came over like, dude, I hate this format. I'm sick of it. I don't do this anymore. And I was like, oh, what do you mean? It's fun. And then we tested. And then Ollie was like, oh yeah, this format's fun. And I was like, I hate this format. This format sucks. I don't want to play Galactics. And now we're both back on. Oh, Galactics, super excited, can't wait. Sometimes
we
like
really
you just get force thrown a little too much.
Yeah, we went through like 3 different deck iterations for like different builds we were trying as well, and every time it was like,
oh my god,
oh, this deck's like okay, and then we added solution. We were like, oh, this deck's like tier 0, it's unbeatable. This format sucks, and then we came back around again.
Yeah.
Do you guys know if there's any influencer stuff going on, Krish? Like, are you doing? Because me and Emmy obviously not going. We're gonna need to send Ollie in our place.
But I believe that they are giving out influencer playmats at Galactics, so Ollie and I can grab some of those for the lads. That one. Emmy's got his. He's a professional. So I believe there's that. I actually have no idea if there's anything else really happening. But what I can say, is I asked at our influencer event, I asked Asmodee whether or not everything has been revealed for Galactics, and they said there are still some fun secrets you'll get to see on the day. So, no idea what that means, but something cool, hopefully.
Well, I hope you guys will keep us informed on that. But yeah, so that's about it for this week. We may have another video before Worlds. I'm not sure what we're kind of just doing stuff as we do it at the moment. But we'll definitely be putting more content out over the next few months. So goodbye from me. Say goodbye, everyone, I guess.
Goodbye.
Yo, we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.
Awkward.